the way technology has come into different types of sports, it's trying to transform it, whether we're using those mixed reality headsets, whether we're using AI to understand different rankings of sports and power settings, right? So it's really an all-inclusive and immersive experience. I think it's really transforming the game. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Autonomous Income. I'm your co-host, Deuce Noble.
And I'm your co-host, DJ. What's going on today, Deuce?
Anthropic. I know we talk about OpenAI a lot. Anthropic has released an LLM for education, which I think is pretty cool. It has features like learning mode to promote critical thinking and broad university access through partnerships, major institutions, and education platforms. So I think that's going to be really, really cool going forward with certain partnerships with universities and even all the way down to elementary and grade school level, education, right? So that's going to be cool. I think in the future, Anthropic is really, gearing up Claude for a lot of cool things like that. Another thing that I thought was pretty interesting, Claude is now available for government use, which is a pretty serious matter in my opinion, right? They have achieved FedRAMP High and IL2 compliance through Google Cloud's Vertex AI. Yeah. So this is where they're making Claude usable for federal agencies and defense organizations with strict security needs. So, in my opinion, I think this is going to be pretty transformational for as far as how government uses AI, right? And those applications are going to be pretty thick, but we may dive into that a little bit deeper. I think that deserves its own maybe episode, right?
Yeah, I think we'll cover that because like with anything, and even with corporate, you can give people, you can lead them to water, but you can't make them drink type thing. So it'll be interesting to see like how they leverage, different platforms. I know people that work for the government that's going to jump all over this and they've been waiting, to be allowed to kind of use this. But now, yeah.
I mean, in my speculatory mind, I think if I give my deuces 2 cents on this piece right here, right, I think that this really does aid into that AI arms race that we've been talking about and kind of discussing, right? It kind of fuels and fans some of the flames to get, the U.S. government into, okay, hey, let's make sure we have a solid AI base because we've talked about a lot of things have been speculatory about like the next wars are going to be fought, through cyber. And I think this really strengthens them in a position to add some of these tools, not only learn it, but help with certain tasks that the government may use. I don't know what applications they might have it for, but it sounds like it may be something useful, right? So that's kind of my stand on that. The main thing I want to talk about today is Meta and UFC's new partnership, right? So they have announced a partnership that will enhance fan engagement using AI and VR. So if you have been living under a rock for I don't know how long, UFC, they've been doing the thing, right? Dana White has been teaming up with a lot of different places to really transform the sport to increase that viewership, that fan engagement, right? Now they have partnered up with Meta's AI to integrate those technologies into their UFC events. And I have to really give credit to Dana White because or Dana White and his team, right? Because I don't know if it's just all him, but I know he's a guy that's very passionate about innovation and making sure that he stays ahead of the curve when it comes to things like that. And he's not afraid of taking those risks, right? So Meta's branding will feature the UFC's Octagon during events, and they will start doing a lot more things. So we're going to kind of dive into this topic and unpack that, right?
Yeah.
So DJ, come on, let me hear what you think about this. What are your thoughts?
I just think it's going to be pretty intense. Having it because I remember you mentioned to me about like how the NBA did something kind of similar to this years back, right? Where you can kind of sit on the sideline and kind of see that from the court floor or something like that. That perspective and that view. And I think this would be. Go ahead.
No, you're right. So I think if we go back to that, right? So I feel like the NBA was, I wouldn't say ahead of their time, but they were kind of right on cue when back in 2017-18, the AR, VR headset phenomenon was kind of ramping up, right? So back in, I think 2017,
Magic Leap, like all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
All those things. Yeah.
back in 2017, 18, maybe a little bit in 2019, but I remember having, I had NBA TV, and one of the experiences with the NBA TV app was if you had a VR headset, you could experience the game live or previously recorded from a courtside view. So what it is, you put on your VR headset, you're basically, what they have is these cameras that are sub at these courtside seats, and you can view the game like you're sitting courtside. Now, I think they were ahead of their time because, man, can you imagine, let's say, hey, man, I can't make this game, but I really would love to be there, to see this, kind of witness this game, like, the NBA Finals. They could sell $2,000 tickets, and I guarantee they'll probably sell virtually for you to be courtside, right? And I think that's pretty cool because I think sports are kind of transforming or getting to a point where you're changing the viewership, right? Stadium seating is not always the most available thing, right? A lot of people, like, if you imagine like this,
Or if you don't
me
like
and
big
you,
crowds, right? I mean, like that's
right?
the thing too. If you don't like big crowds, you get claustrophobic. Like I think that solves for. Or if you've ever wanted to live vicariously through those people that get the front row seats or whatever the place that close, because it's expensive to get those too. I think it's a great idea, man.
Now, and I think this is cool. So, I mean, if we bring this back, that kind of whole philosophy back to this Meta and UFC partnership, right?
Yeah,
They're really adding a lot into change the aspect of the sport, right?
yeah,
Meta is creating new ways and innovations to rank fighters, right? A new ranking system using AI and some of the tools they have, right? I mean, previously we talked about Jabber AI for
yeah,
combat
yeah,
sports and
yeah.
how it views strikes and everything, right? But if you're using, data to look at stuff like this to figure out, hey, how can we rank these fighters based on this new system, right? How can we use our AI glasses to get you to incorporate all of those things into these events, right? If I have AI glasses and I'm watching the fight, maybe it might tell me a little more info about the fighter and maybe the strikes that are happening, right? So I think, just speculating, but I think this is going to be a really, really cool way to now view sports in general, but definitely UFC. If you've never seen a UFC fight or a mixed martial arts fight, it's it's
Yeah,
like
man.
modern day gladiator style fighting, right? I mean, think about it. It's some modern day gladiators, right? Except there's no animals and lions. But I think it's pretty cool. So, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting to see where this partnership takes place at and where it takes off at, right?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, like it says, Meta's technology platform services, the products included Meta Glasses, Meta Quest, but also the traditional platforms like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Threads, basically. Like, so I guess more people will also be able to view it. So I guess just the live streaming, but what gets interesting to me is the Meta Glasses and Meta Quest when it comes into the VR aspect of it, like really being that close to the action to kind of see things from different angles. That'll be super interesting to see. This targets, of course, the consumer, right? I mean, like, so this will be beneficial to the consumer to really jump in there. So that's where I think that innovation will pay major dividends because, this could open up new streams of income that people want to pay for this type of access or for this type of view to their event. So I think it's a smart move.
So not only is viewership changing in this aspect, but also UFC, you've heard of, we've talked a little bit about the Sphere in Vegas, Las Vegas. There's also COSM, COSM in the Dallas area. I guess, I don't know how you would say it, viewing centers, places, arenas, I guess, viewing arenas
Yeah,
that change how you watch sports, right? Essentially the Sphere is this big digital sphere thing where you can go in and see a huge screen. You sit there and watch whatever, right? And I think UFC actually posted the first live sporting event at the Sphere in Vegas a few months back, maybe late last year. It's insane reality getting to see that type of experience from a really curved level, really, really almost in effect where it's 2D because you get really, really close, right? You have premium seating. You're not there actually at the game, but it almost feels like it. So Cosm and Sphere is definitely changing the game. And any other arenas out there like that may be there, it's really, really crazy. It's interesting how we can see the technology transforming how we view different things, right? And
yeah,
the one thing I want to say is about these stadiums, right? They're not building new stadiums all the time, but the stadiums have a fixed amount of seating, right? The number of fans are growing yearly and monthly for different sports teams. So these experiences and arenas popping up to increase fan viewership is really, really cool. And they're using a lot of technology like mixed reality, AI, and VR, and AR to transform how we experience these sports.
Yeah, I just like when I saw the images, I remember when you were telling me about COSM and everything like that. I immediately was like, man, that's something that I want to definitely check out because it's just the immersiveness, but also collectively, and it kind of like it's like you're watching a movie, right? You go to the theater and it's kind of like that in the Sphere in Vegas, like as we talk about that, that's a little bit different because that's the next level. COSM seems to be right in the vein of that, but I mean, like it's just all of you collectively having these different viewing angles and seeing everything from live. Like it's so immersive. Like I guess immersive is the best way. It's just like hyper immersive, and you can kind of see the engagement that you're getting from everybody. It's almost like you're really there. So I think that from a viewing aspect and just like from an entertainment perspective is just like, that's definitely next level. And I think that'll keep people coming back to those type of experiences versus just like something traditional. So
to give you kind of a quick insight on COSM, right? They have a few seating points that you're showing, right? So they have the dome. Right now, they are selling tickets for you to come in and watch the Final Four.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so they have those games, and those tickets start at I think $55,
yeah. I can
right?
see.
And per seat, and which is pretty cool because obviously, yeah, it's a lot cheaper than going to the actual game, but
Yeah,
the experience you get, right? The comfort seating, the technology, it's really mind blowing how these arenas are being built to cater towards sport fans, right? And I think that this is really going to transform. I expect we're going to see a lot more of these popping up if they're not already. These are two that I know of. I have a few friends that are in the Dallas area that have been to COSM already, I think, for the college football playoffs. And I think they've really enjoyed it. They said it was definitely an experience they would go and see again. The Sphere, obviously, they have the screens outside of it and what it looks like, but inside is just as dope as well. So, man, I think the way technology has come into sports and different types of sports, it's trying to transform it, whether we're using those mixed reality headsets, whether we're using AI to understand different rankings of sports and power settings, right? We've talked a few episodes of how sports is changing using AI, right? But
yeah,
even the Sphere is using a lot of technology and different things. And I think when the UFC had that in-person fight atmosphere was just the start because they used that as, hey, we have a ring down here in the middle on the floor. Everyone can see the ring, but also we're showing it on the big screen if you're not close enough, right? And in between these fights and people coming out, we're having basically a big movie experience,
yes.
giving a show on how a background on these fighters, a background on some of the things that's happening in UFC, right? We're showing you what's coming next. So it's really an all-inclusive and immersive experience. I think is really transforming the game.
Man, one thing is, you remember we take corporate trips and everything like that for like team events and all that. So, this would be a good one to pitch a use case for to see if your team can go to a Sphere event or something like that as a showcasing on the site. Because, we did like, what was the one popular that everybody did for team events for a while? I think the escape rooms, right? Everybody's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, escape room this, escape room that. Now,
Escape
I mean,
room. You know which one?
imagine
You know what was really also popular? Top Golf was really popular, right?
that's right. Top Golf was another one, but Sphere, I think, would trump all of those. I mean, now
Man,
Top Golf is still pretty good. I mean, like I still enjoy going there, but this just adds to stuff that you can really do as a group, and like I said, just
absolutely.
have that immersiveness. And this is just another experience. I can't wait to check out Sphere. A lot of my friends have already checked it out. Now, I mean, you actually costed me money, so now it's the Sphere I got to buy tickets for, and then it's COSM. I might just need to block you. You
Hey, well,
toxic
listen,
for my
I'm gonna tell
wife.
you this. I'm gonna tell you this. If you don't got a Vegas account, go ahead and get you a little Vegas account. Put a little money aside every check. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
hey, listen, if you want to go to Cosm, it's just right up the street. Head up to Dallas. You know what I'm saying? It's not too bad. That is cheaper than a flight to Vegas. I'll tell you that.
I mean, depending on the time of the year, but yeah, definitely cause them. I mean, I love
Absolutely.
what they're doing, and the whole cool thing about either one of these is like you and I were kind of in on this earlier, right? We were building, for corporate America, like we were building these user experiences with augmented reality super early, right? Like, and kind of working through those. And that's what led into some of our patent work. But, we're with an amazing team. But like, I just like to see now on the other side of it, like years later, right? Like, I think we were super early. Remember,
We were
like,
extremely
we
early.
were really early, like, and that's I forgot the chart or the wave, the innovation wave, where like you're super early, and then it kind of goes to the dip of disillusion or something like that, and then it comes out of there. But we were really early on that curve. But either way, like I love to see where it's going right now. I'm just thankful that we're still here to kind of help see and still build in that space.
Now, and like I said, this is more so like this is a few things has been popping up that's really showing you how advanced technology is getting, right? Like you said, that wave of the innovation we were on before,
Yeah.
man, it was going somewhere, right? It had a lot of
Man,
potential,
a lot of
but
potential.
of course, with the times, like it wasn't ready. Like a lot of things was super early, like Google Glass, their AR glasses, super early,
Yeah, the
got
hardware at
canceled.
that point was nowhere near.
The
You know what I
heart,
mean? Like,
man, listen, a lot of
yeah,
those headsets, they were very, very almost iconic, but still early in the sense of, what that means. So I think, now you have these immersive
yeah.
in-person
Apple Vision
arenas.
Pro. I mean, you have so you have like these legit devices that
Right.
can have some of
So
those type of experiences. Yeah.
I I think that's going to be kind of the next steps. Kind of how like I was talking about the NBA with the NBA TV was, really early with that. That's kind of, in my opinion, could be the next phase, right? We have these in-person arenas, COSM, the Sphere. Now the next phase is you're going to be paying that premium price to sit in your house with your nice VR goggles and watch an experience at home, right? In the comfort of your home. I'm gonna put it like this. Way, way, way back in the day when movies first came out, right? They had these movie theaters, people would get dressed up, go out to the movies to go watch a film, right? Before, it was live action plays, now we got these recorded films. Now we got, when Blockbuster came out, people were watching from their house, watching those same movies at their house. Now we're getting to a point where you can see live sporting events from the comfort of your home, like you're actually there, not just on your TV, but like you're sitting courtside, like you're sitting on the 50-yard line. And that's what the Sphere and COSM is doing. You're not just sitting there watching the game like you're watching on TV. You're sitting there in an immersive experience, really, really close, like you're on the 50-yard line or, courtside. You may be watching a hockey game right next to the glass. It's really, really cool what they are doing. And I think that, hey, this is extremely transformative. And I'm excited. Like I said, look, this costing me money too. I'm ready to go to Cosmo right now.
Yeah, and this perfectly leads us into our next thing our next topic that we want to talk about, because now we have that advancements, but now with AI, man, it's just taken over, as you guys have all seen from social media and just everywhere, the news, but visually. Runway, they just introduced their Gen 4 model, and we talked about before ChatGPT with their latest 4.0 image generation model that's just been taking everything by storm, like with all of its capabilities. Runway, they've been cooking for a long time in the image to video and video to video, just like everything with AI video generation and editing tools and everything like that. So they're more so deeply ingrained in like the Hollywood aspect and like really films and theater, but just the whole gamut basically of just like editing, design, and developing and everything like that, and from the film industry. And the Gen 4 model is super solid. I've already had a chance to play around with it, and right now what they've released is like a image to video. So basically you can prompt an image, and you can definitely use ChatGPT's 4.0 or whatever image generator that you prefer, and even actual images. You run them through the model, and it will turn them live. And as you can see here with some of the examples that they have, like, I mean, it's very creative. You can prompt it. It has really good prompt adherence. So like whatever you're prompting in there, it knows exactly what you're talking about contextually and puts that into what you're trying to kind of showcase. And they're just cooking. So, dude, I don't know if you've seen on social media like some of the crazy AI that's been going on a lot, but a lot of that, at least for the
Yes.
past couple of days, have been Runway Gen 4. It's been all over the place. But what are your
So,
thoughts?
well, first off, yeah, I want to make a point. A couple months ago, you remember what I said? This was probably about
Oh, we'll
Not
see
all
a
the way at the end
full
of
AI
last year.
movie. Yeah.
Look, not only the end of last year, but sometime last year, I'd said, look, end of 20, before the end of 2025, we're going to have a full feature film made completely out of AI.
Here you go, right here. A collection of short films and music videos made entirely with Gen 4 to test the model's narrative capabilities. So these right here are full concepts, something that you would probably see at like a film festival
Listen,
or something like that. Short
we're
films
we're
that are
only
entirely made.
we're 3 days into Q2 of 2025. By the end of this year, like I said, I already said you heard it here first. You're hearing it here again. I'm doubling down.
Oh, you
I'm
said it
doubling
with your
down.
chest. So I'm saying it
Listen,
with my chest.
listen. There's going to be a full feature film out made completely by AI. And what's so crazy about this, we talk about getting off on a little bit of a tangent. I'm going a little bit around. We talk about how job security is one of the things that people, obviously are concerned about. And one of the areas I don't feel like we talk about enough, we talk about software engineers and different things and all this stuff, but you got
The
to think
film industry,
about
like Hollywood,
the
yeah.
film industry, writers, you know, editors, people who, edit the movie after it's filmed, right? If AI is taking care of 80% of this, that's a lot of jobs that's getting taken off, right? We're creating the animation with this AI, right? Animators. That's all of Disney Pixar's whole line, right? I'm just saying, like, this
I
is
mean, I
really,
don't
really
know if
interesting.
it necessarily replaces or if it just enhances. Like to me, it's going to save a lot of people a lot of time also, and maybe that's just
So
because I'm
it
more so
can.
optimistic about it. Yeah,
It
but I
can
just think like
but it is one of those things like if you work with it, yes, it can. But at the same time, like I said, these are shorts, right? How many people did it take to create this? I'm just saying, hypothetically, how many people did it take to create this one short film using just all completely Gen 4 AI versus if you think about a short film that you need an animator. I'm sure you still need these people, but it's like it's okay. Let's say your film roster is 50 people versus, regularly 50 people, just for example, versus now this short film made completely with Gen 4 AI. Look, they shrunk this down. Now it's 30 people. That's 20 families that's not eating off this film. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, I just think that yeah. I mean, yeah. It just depends on the role and everything like that. I mean,
Right,
because
right,
I
right. Of
definitely
course.
think it's going to impact everything, right? They're talking about
It
we talked about
is.
earlier in the year
But
about
it
the
is so
CEO of
interesting.
Salesforce who said that remember he's not hiring any software engineers or something like that for all of 2025, and because now AI is going to, and a lot of people are coming out. The CEO of Anthropic is saying, in a couple months, 90% of all coding will be done. Now, not programming, because the art and the science of like being a programmer and thinking with a method and all of that. But I mean, coding, a lot of that will be done by AI. And you see with Gemini 2.5 that was just released in its coding capability, which is crazy. We already had Anthropic's 3.7, which is typically the coding king. But now, Gemini, I think, is kind of taking that mantle. But yeah, I do think a lot of things will be impacted. But now it's just like, what is that next step, or what is those 27 people that you said may not need to be on that film? What's the next thing that they would need to do? Maybe all of
Right.
them start becoming more creators instead of just like having to do some of the stuff they probably didn't want to do
No,
in the first
exactly
place.
right. And I think,
Yeah,
and I just want to kind of put that out there, just get people thinking, because like I said,
yeah,
this is great. I love this, great
yeah.
technology. But also, what this is like you said, the you can become creators. But also, you can put this into a framework of, let's say, I want to make my own movies, make my own shorts, but I don't have all the necessarily tools, right, and things at
Yeah.
my
Or
fingertips.
the
But if
money,
I
the
can get a
funds to
hold
do all that.
of
Yeah, yeah.
this, right, man, I could really start making things happen, right? And it's really, really cool, right? I think this is completely transformational for the media industry and what that's going to look like. You got to think like also what does that look like for like the technology that we use for like CGI and putting making things appear when it's not really there. I think this is really going to change the game of getting digital elements into mixed reality movies, right?
Mm.
I think it's cool because the technology
Yeah.
has really, really changed. Can you imagine if what's his name from Star Wars had this technology back in the 80s?
Oh, George Lucas.
George Lucas. Look,
George Lucas.
no shade to the
Oh
Star Wars,
man,
but
yeah.
look, we just off the top. George Lucas had this type of technology going into making Star Wars. Man,
Well, one of the cool things that I like though is that a lot of those legacy filmmakers and designers, they're helping a lot of these companies. Like they sit on the board of
absolutely.
not necessarily this one, but a lot of them are a part of that. So there's LTX Studio, which takes an approach like this as well. And like, they are working a lot with Hollywood veterans that are kind of helping craft like what they need. And one of the big things I like that Runway tackled with this is infinite character consistency. Because one thing with AI, it was very hard keeping the same
Oh
consistent
yeah,
character throughout all the different scenes. And as you see here, they've tackled that, and they had a lot of consistency with different backgrounds and different settings and all of those other things. So definitely play around with it. Take a look at all of the things, and they have like a not only just consistent characters, but consistent items. So this item here in different scenes and at different scales and all of those things as well. So now you have different items within a scene. So I'm just, I think, I'm pretty bullish on what you're saying is that we may get a whole feature film. I don't know, how good it will be. I don't know about 2025, maybe 2026, but I guess
I'm
we'll see.
thinking by
Time
the
will
end
tell.
of 2025, we're gonna see it.
We'll
Christmas
see.
time.
I mean, you're right. We are just in Q2 at the beginning of Q2. And I
I'm just
mean, and
saying, like,
everybody,
if you, I mean, yeah, like you said, I don't know how good it will be, right? The writers and everything, but these short feature films, like, regardless of how good they are, it was created, right? They were done and completed. Cool. And I think it's just a start. Like, for all my creators out there, for my writers, for all my creative video content people, check this stuff out. I think it'll be really, really beneficial if you're into that world of media and movies, or even if you want to get into that, if you're really taking like content creation a little serious, this is the place to be, right? Check this tool
it's
out.
almost like you
We
have to jump in and find some tool. It doesn't have to be Runway. Runway has competitors also. I
absolutely,
prefer
yeah,
them. Like I really like them, and I've been using them since Gen 1. Like I've been a heavy user of Runway, but there's, uh, you know, other tool. LTX Studio is another one I think would be kind of heading towards that. They have two different problems I think that they're trying to solve. Runway is, assortment of tools. LTX is like more so focused on movies, but either way, like I think it's definitely something to kind of keep tabs on and definitely use, especially for all the content creators that are out there. This is definitely something that you want to make sure to have in your toolbox, that you can leverage.
absolutely. And of course, we'll link this runway below. Also, we'll add in some links for COSM and the Sphere if you guys want to go and experience that for yourselves. If you're in those areas, or if you're just taking a trip, you want to go see what it's like.
Yep.
Please let us know. If you go before we do, you have to tell us what your experience was like. Hopefully, we can get there soon. I'm really trying to get to Dallas. I got family out there to go see.
I'll
COSM.
meet you
Check
there.
out.
I will meet you
Right.
there, man.
Well,
Where
we'll
we
meet
going?
you
We
there.
going?
Look,
Yeah.
like I said, they're showing both games for the Final Four. They have different shows. It's really, really cool to see. But other
Yeah.
than that, man, what else you got, DJ? Anything else, or you want to wrap?
No, man,
I
I
think
think
this is
we've
pretty
covered a
cool.
lot today. Definitely leave comments of anything else that you want us to cover or delve deeper into. Today was a lot, but we try to give you the TLDR, even though I think we were just excited about the technology as well. Deuce and I, you guys all know that we're futurists ourselves and we love technology and kind of talking about all the aspects of it. I don't know, what has been coined yet? Is it sport tech? Because, there's fintech, there's insure tech, there's
I don't
uh,
know. That's
all
sport
these other,
tech.
I wonder if sport has like their kind of thing. So I'm gonna say, maybe sport tech, but I'm really excited about that. Or maybe they can, because health tech is also a thing, like the Apple Watches and all. That's already
I
been a
mean,
thing, right?
sport
But
tech.
sports, yeah, just
Sport AI.
ponder on that. Ponder on
You know what I'm
that. Just
saying?
drop some ideas for us. What you guys think that it is? But I'm excited about
What
that
should
for
we
the art
call
of the
it?
entertainment. Yeah, yeah.
And otherwise, you guys, as always, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.